Hello everybody, welcome to this Verbling class. My name is Teacher Amy and today's class is a reading and speaking class on the topic of language, which is something that obviously all of us who are here on Verbling are interested in. The topic is, what kind of language will we speak in our world in 100 years' time? What will the nature of language be? How will it have changed? Maybe certain languages will have taken the lead and certain languages will have fallen behind. Will some languages have gone altogether? And we're just going to generally talk about this topic of language and what's important about it and what does it mean to our lives. So if you would like to join us, then come along in. We're also going to be reading an interesting article, so it will include some reading and pronunciation practice too. While we're waiting for everybody to get here, I'm just going to share a couple of pages like I always do at the beginning of class. In case you haven't checked these out before, then you can check those out in the spare minutes. The first one is my Facebook page, and the second one is my Verbling teacher page. So you can use the Facebook page to get in touch with teachers via Facebook, but also other students. It's a good way of sort of interacting with the theme of Verbling and English teaching and learning. Because obviously you can do everything that you can do on Facebook, so you can comment and you can share things. So do head over to Facebook if that's something that you like. Other than that, the Verbling teacher page is the place to find out everything you will need to know about a Verbling teacher, including who they are, where they're from. You can watch some of their class videos in their introductory video, and you can also get in touch with them via the messaging feature. I think the most important thing probably is that their schedule is available to view, so you can see if you'd like to take a private tutoring class or to join any of the teachers' classes, then that's the place to go and find them. So if you would like to check out those two links, then do feel free. And I'll just do a quick sum up of this class. So it's a reading and speaking class on the theme of language in the future. So obviously English is a big player right now, but will it continue to be? In 100 years, obviously some of us, most of us, will probably not be alive, but you know, I'm sure that in our lifetimes we will see a lot of change. So it's going to be an interesting discussion. Welcome to Ali.
Hi again.
How are you feeling, Ali? You're not too worn out after the last class?
Yeah.
You're doing well?
Yeah.
That's excellent. Tell me, Ali, what do you think about the future of language? Just completely out of your imagination. Oh, have we got... Can you still hear me? Yeah, okay, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. What I want to know, Ali, is what do you think is going to happen with language around the world? If you just use your imagination and go crazy for a moment, in 100 years' time, what will we be speaking? How will language have changed?
Yeah, I think many languages will die in maybe next 50 years or 100 years. People speak few languages, maybe. I don't know, maybe English will be common language, or maybe only one language, but not like this. Maybe we will see many changes in the language. Maybe most of people speak the same language in the world.
Okay, so you think maybe... Yeah, sorry.
No, just in next 100 years, maybe, after 100 years.
All right, so I think what you were saying generally, Ali, is that the diversity of language might decrease, so we may have fewer languages.
Yeah, it's obvious. From now, we have lost some languages every year, you know. And I think we will have more, how to say, strong communication devices or something like that. And the world is getting smaller and smaller, and all people can communicate each other, and they have to understand each other in some way. I don't know. They have to speak the same language if they want to communicate each other.
Okay. Thank you, Ali. Great introduction to the class. Let's see who else we've got here. We have Axel. Hello, Axel.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Are you a guitarist?
Yeah, I studied music when I was like 12 years old.
Awesome. And do you still play?
What?
Do you still play the guitar?
Yeah, well, right now I'm playing the guitar in my church. Yes, in my church.
Okay. Yep. Awesome. Where are you from, Axel?
I am from Mexico.
Okay. Well, it's really lovely to meet you. We're talking about language today. So tell us about English. Why are you learning English?
Where I was learning like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yep.
Well, I am still learning English, and I always try to improve my pronunciation, and I like to know more about new words, urban words. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that perhaps the most people say that the language that is going to be spoken for all the world is going to be, I don't know if English or some kind of weird language, or I don't know.
Some kind of made up language.
Made on.
Made up, as in
Made up.
not real. Yeah?
Okay. Made up. Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know whether you know about the language called Esperanto. That's a made up language, which apparently some people do speak. But it's a very interesting topic. Okay, lovely to have you in class, Axel. We're going to come back and talk to you again soon.
Okay, thanks.
David, hello.
Hi, Amy.
It's good to hear from you. I wasn't able to talk to you in the last class for some reason. Where are you
I
from,
lost
David?
the connection.
Okay, you lost your connection. Well, great, you've got it working. That's super. Okay, so which country are you from?
From Colombia, teacher.
From Colombia, and I'm guessing that that picture is not a picture of you. Is that what you look like?
Yes.
It is! This is you? I don't think so. Your picture is a character from some kind of movie, is it?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm just talking about your picture of this guy going like this with his sword behind him. Is that a character from a movie or a cartoon strip or something?
Both.
Both?
It's a character of comic books, and it's also a character from movies and a character from a video game.
Oh wow, what's its name? His name?
His name is Deadpool. It's like a hero, more or less.
Okay, awesome. Well, I was just checking it wasn't you. He looks pretty muscly, so, you know, it's a little bit scary. But nice to meet you, David. So tell us why you're learning English. Have you got a reason for it, a particular reason?
Well, my main reason is because I want to have more opportunities to get a job, and if I know how to speak English very well, I will be more successful in my life, I guess.
Okay, so it's sort of like work related for you, or opportunity related. Okay, wonderful. Well, welcome. It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
Israel, hello.
Hello, teacher.
How are you? It's good to see you again, or to hear you again.
Thank you. I'm very well.
Good. Israel, I can't remember. Are you from Dominican Republic, or is that completely wrong?
Yes. Where the amazing happen.
It's good to speak to you again. How is everything going? Is the weather hot where you are at the moment?
It's hot every day. This is a tropical country, but I think that is less hot than the other day.
Okay, the temperature has dropped slightly.
Yes.
So, my knowledge of your climate is absolutely terrible. Do you have, I know that you don't have, winter, spring, summer, autumn, but do you have seasons at all? Do you have like a rainy season and a dry season, or?
I think that is a season where is is more rainy than the other day. Let me think. I think that in March or May it's more rainy than the other month.
Oh, okay. That's
Yes.
kind of strange. So it's not so much a season as particular months where different things happen.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Well, it's lovely to have you back, Israel. Now tell us about English, because today's topic is language, and we're going to be talking about what the world will speak in 2115. So why is English important to you, Israel?
Well, I think it's the most important that I have learned lately because I'm technician and every service manual is in English. If I know how to uh, if I know how to speak English, I can fix the copy machine or whatever that I have to fix more easier,
More easily.
most easily. Yes. So
Okay.
and I can communicate in with other people in other country. Uh, it's the most important, I think.
Okay, so you have a very practical usage for your English, which is great, Israel. Um, yes, I agree. Technical manuals, actually, we often have a great time laughing at instructions for appliances or manuals that come with technical things, because sometimes, or a lot of the time, they are so badly translated that we can't really understand them. And it's very entertaining reading all of these strange English sentences. But yes, I admit it's very hard for me to imagine, because obviously I'm a native speaker, but I can see how that would definitely help you. So that's interesting, Israel. Welcome. Let's say hello to Honor again. Hello.
Hello.
Okay,
Hello.
Honor, it's good to see you again. Tell us what you think about the future of language. What's going to happen in the next 50 or 100 years, according to you?
I guess people will need an upper language, like everyone would need to talk in the same language to communicate. But maybe people won't speak at all. Maybe people will just send brain signals to a computer, and computer will speak for ourselves. Yeah,
Oh,
that
interesting
is
theory.
the real future. I'm expecting it to come.
Okay. And how soon will this arrive, Honor?
I hope in 2115 this will be happened.
It will be just normal. Everybody will do this.
Yeah, I just hope this.
All right. That's very fascinating. Actually, I did watch a video yesterday, and I'm going to share this at the end of class, guys. Please remind me if I forget, about this new feature that Skype has recently released, which is basically a simultaneous interpreter, pretty much. So you can talk in your own language and have a conversation with somebody in another language. The language they use for the advert is Spanish, and So all of you Spanish speakers and English speakers will find it entertaining, I think, but I do believe it works with lots of other languages too. I'll share this at the end of class, so stay tuned. But for now, we are going to read our articles. So here's the link. Let me do a screen share. And you can see we've got here an article from the Wall Street Journal, which is with a very annoying advert that keeps going over and over. So try not to let that distract you too much. All right, so what we've got here is what the world will speak in 2115, or maybe 2115. A century from now, expect fewer but simpler languages on every continent. So, we're going to read and find out more. Ali, this seems to be a little bit towards what you were saying, but we will see. So have a look at that picture. I don't know whether you guys know about the Tower of Babel from the Bible, but it's pretty famous about how everybody suddenly started speaking different languages. Okay, so off we go. I'm going to start from the other end, and I'm going to get Ono to start us off with some reading, please.
Sure. In 1880, a Bavarian priest created a language that he hoped the whole world could use. He mixed words from French, German, and English and gave his creation the name Volapük, which didn't do it any favors. Verse Volapük was hard to use, sprinkled with odd sounds and case endings like Latin.
Keep going.
Okay. It made a splash for a few years, but was soon pushed aside by another invented language, Esperanto, which had a lyrical name and was much easier to master. A game learner could pick up its rules of usage in an afternoon.
Great.
But
keep going, one paragraph, yeah.
Okay, but it didn't matter. By the time Esperanto got out of the gate, another language was already emerging as an international medium, English. 2,000 years ago, English was the unwritten tongue of Iron Age tribes in Denmark. 1,000 years after that, it was living in the shadow of French-speaking overlords on a dampish little island. No one then living could have dreamed that English would be spoken today, to some degree, by almost 2 billion people, on its way to being spoken by every third person on the planet.
Thank you. Wonderful reading. Okay, so we're going to do what we usually do, and just check that everybody understands. If there's a word or two that you come across as we're going through, just make a note of it, and then we'll have a chance to talk about the words after each section. So are there any words that we don't understand? No? What does it mean here when it says it made a splash?
Is it like it has been a hit, like a hit song?
Good example, Ali.
Very, very popular.
Yeah, thank you, Ono. It's not actually so much a hit. To make a splash isn't so successful as a hit. It just means, if you think about, throwing a stone into the sea, it makes a splash when it hits the surface, but the splash disappears quite quickly, and then that's it. So it sort of made a little impact, made a small impact for a short time. Okay. What does it mean when we say something doesn't do it or a person any favors?
It didn't do any good for him, perhaps.
Exactly. Yes, exactly right, Ono. This is a really great phrase to use because it's kind of colourful. It's a very nice, light-hearted way of saying that you did something bad or something action that you have done didn't really help you out much. So this Volapük language doesn't sound too successful. All right, we're going to carry on reading, and this time it is Israel's turn.
Science fiction often presents of with whole planets that speak a single language, but that fantasy seems more uh, menacing here in real life on this planet we call home. That is, in a world where some worry that English might eradicate every other language. That humans can express themselves in several thousand languages is a delight in countless ways. Few would welcome to loss of this variety. Uh, but the existence of so many languages can also create problems. It isn't an accident that the Bible's tale of the Tower of Babel presents multilingualism as a divine curse meant to hinder our understanding. One might even ask if all humans had always spoken a single language, would anyone wish we were instead separated now by thousands of different ones?
Thank you. Great expression in your reading, Israel. So I just want to go through a couple of words. This word here is tale.
Tale.
Yeah, which means the same as story in this case. This one here can be pronounced in different ways depending on how the word is acting. So here we've got a verb. So the verb is pronounced present. Presents multilingualism.
Presents.
Yep. If you're talking about now, then you would say present, or a gift is also present, okay? But the verb is present.
Okay.
Okay, divine. Divine.
Divine.
Yep, and last one, meant.
Meant.
Yep. It looks like it should be meant, but it's not. It's meant, okay?
Nice.
Well done, Israel. Okay, questions? Any questions about any words? No? All right, we're all doing pretty well. I'm going to ask Axel. Axel, can you tell us 3 things that we have learnt so far in this article?
Okay, can you repeat, please? Can I tell you what?
3 things, 3 different points or topics or ideas or facts or something that this article has told us.
Well, that article is about the language that is going to be the most popular, or
Yep.
it's going to be spoken for all over the world, and it's going to be like like a mix between Germany, English, and French.
Okay, so you're talking about the beginning, right? This part here.
Yeah, I read that, but I wasn't seeing the other part.
Okay, that's all right. So this mixture of French, German, and English was actually a language that this Bavarian priest made up or created, and he named it Volapük, right? So it's not actually one that we speak. But yes, that is a point. Okay, one more thing.
The thing that is that I can't read very well because I am on my phone, so I can.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I don't know how to. Yes,
No
I
worries,
can see
Axel.
very well. Yeah, the letters.
Wonder if I can. I've zoomed in one more. Does that help you a little bit?
Ah, okay. Yeah, I can see there. Um, okay. Splash for a few years with was some pushing the side. Mm.
So just one more point. Anything you like.
That you can perhaps you can get the new language by the game or something like that.
Yes, this is talking about another made up or invented or created language, Esperanto. And it says that this was a lot easier than the first one, Volapük. And you could learn it quite quickly. That's what it's saying, okay?
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Axel. Now we're
Yeah.
going to scroll down to here and we're going to continue reading, and this time it is David's turn, thankfully.
Yes, Amy, from what paragraph? Sorry.
From this one here, which starts, thankfully, fears that English.
Okay. Thankfully, fears that English will become the world's only language are premature. Few are so pessimistic as to suppose that there will not continue to be a multiplicity of nations and cultures on our planet, and along with them, various languages beside English. It is difficult, after all, to interrupt something as intimate and spontaneous as what language people speak to their children. Who truly imagines a Japan with no Japanese or a Greece with no Greek? The spirit of English just means that Earthlings will tend to use a local language in their own orbit, and English for communication beyond.
Great reading. This word here is earthlings.
Earthlings, and what is the meaning, please?
Does anyone know what earthlings means? Has anyone ever heard this before?
Mm-mm.
No? All right,
Never saw
earthlings is just a way of saying people that live on the planet Earth, and it's used in the context of aliens or space or something to do with science fiction, okay? As opposed to aliens or as opposed to Martians or something. Yeah? Did someone have a question? No? All right, I'm going to get David. Could you read one more paragraph, please, for us? But the days.
Sure. But the days when English shared the planet with thousands of other languages are numbered. A traveler to the future, a century from now, is likely to notice two things about the language landscape of Earth. One, there will be vastly fewer languages. Two, languages will often be less complicated than they are today, especially in how they are spoken as opposed to how they are written.
How they are written.
Ah, yes, written is the participle, right?
Yes. Thank you. Well done. All right, thank you. That's lovely reading. Any questions from both of these paragraphs or either of these paragraphs?
Yes, vastly is a lot, right?
Vastly. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay, it's clear.
Clear? Anyone else? Oh. All right, in that case, honneur. What did we learn from these two paragraphs?
I believe the first paragraph says that we shouldn't be so pessimistic about English getting spread in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like Japanese or Greek will still be getting talked among Japanese or Greek people, and English will just mean, and the spread of English will just mean that those people will use it to communicate with people beyond their country. And the second one predicts that in future there will be fewer languages and they will be much less complicated.
All right, thank you. That's beautiful, Anur. Yep. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, two things. One, I think is kind of a relief that the languages are not all going to disappear. They're maybe just going to be more locally based, and English possibly will just be the language that is used to communicate between different cultures, which I think is already what's happening today, really. The second one is kind of interesting. It says that the languages are going to be less complicated. And actually, I think this has already happened, you know, in the past, say, 100 years. I don't know if any of you ever watch period dramas about things that happened, you know, 100 years ago or something like that. I often find that the language that they use in these kind of programs or movies is much more complicated. People speak much more eloquently than we do now. So I guess that's probably the direction we're headed in. Let's keep reading, and then we're going to talk about it for a bit. So, Ali, your turn. Some may protest.
Okay. Some may protest that it's not English but Mandarin Chinese that will eventually become the world's language because of the size of the Chinese population and the increasing economic might of their nation. But that's unlikely. For one, English happens to have gotten there first. It's now so deeply entrenched in print, education, and media that switching to anything else would entail an enormous effort. We retain the QWERTY keyboard and AC current for similar reasons.
Keep going.
Okay. Also, the tones of Chinese are extremely difficult to learn beyond childhood, and truly mastering the writing system virtually requires having been born to it. In the past, of course, notoriously challenging languages such as Greek, Latin, Aramaic, Arabic, Russian, and even Chinese have been embraced by vast numbers of people. But now that English has settled in, its approachability as compared with Chinese will discourage its replacement. Many a world power has ruled without spreading its language, and just as the Mongols and Manchus once ruled China while leaving Chinese intact, if the Chinese rule the world, they will likely do so in English.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Ali. All right, so some other points have come up in this section. And I'm going to ask this time David. What's it saying about Chinese?
Yes, yes, Amy, sorry. Okay, the paragraph is saying that I think that maybe some people think that Chinese will become the most worldwide speaking language.
Yep.
But well, it's difficult because the level of Chinese is really hard, and if you want to learn, it's quite difficult. And for this reason, it's difficult to happen that. And saying that Chinese is the most speaking language, and I agree with that because China has like 1,000 million or something. It's the most speaking language nowadays by the population.
Yeah.
And well, I think English will be the language for the world in the future.
Okay, thank you, David. Does anyone have any questions? Sorry, I forgot to ask that. Any questions about vocabulary?
Yes. Okay. Sorry. I have one, but I forget.
You've lost it. Have a look for it,
Yes.
David. While
So
you're looking for that, yep, found it. Oh, okay. I just want to ask, we've got still 4 of us left in here today. Apart from English and your native language, I just want you to make a brief comment. Do you speak any other languages? And also, how difficult do you think your native language is for other people to learn? So let's ask Onur.
Uh, I think it is harder for someone who speaks Latin-based languages to learn Turkish because uh, the the system you use to make sentences or the grammar system is different. I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some differences, but there are people learning Turkish so easily, so it shouldn't be the hardest thing ever.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
Thank you, Onur. It's very interesting. Can you tell me just what kinds of people tend to learn Turkish? From which countries do they come? Who are they?
Um, I believe they are people who wants or has to work in Turkey or yes, I think it is work-related
Mm-hmm.
things that push people to learn Turkish. But
Okay.
there may be other reasons too. Like I
Yeah.
shouldn't realize.
Yeah. Well, it's just obviously it's a big
Yes,
generalization, but it sort of gives you an idea because I think there are sometimes there are specific reasons why somebody will learn a particular language, but I know a few people in New Zealand who speak Turkish for various reasons. So yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you. How about you, David? Have you found your word yet?
no, I mean, and I I lost
You've
the
lost
word.
it. No worries.
So
So David, tell us about you're from
Spanish?
Colombia? Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot where
right.
you're from. Okay, tell us about Spanish. What do you think about it,
Uh,
and who learns it?
well, I like Spanish. It's very beautiful. I like my language, and the things are very. I like the rhythm and everything.
Hmm.
I think learning Spanish is more difficult than learning perhaps English. I have seen some Berlin teachers that speak Spanish,
Hmm.
but they live in a Spanish country,
Yep.
and yes, I think it's not so spread like English, and maybe will require more effort.
Okay, why do you say that, David? Is there something particular about it that you think is difficult?
Well, I have read and I have heard that the Spanish has a lot of difficulty because we have a large vocabulary and the grammar. We
Hmm.
use different grammar. Yes, every language has a difficulty, no?
Yeah, I think every language does have something particularly difficult about it. Okay, very interesting. Thank you, David. Axel, what
Thank
about
you.
you? What's your perspective on Spanish?
Spanish, as David was saying, yeah, it's a beautiful language because it's like so rich, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of words so you can express what you want to say without a problem. And well, it's more difficult than other. Well, most of people say that it's one of the most difficult languages that exists here in the world, But I don't know. It depends on the person, right? Some people say that it's not it's not so difficult. It's not very difficult. So I don't know. For me, of course, is easy. So
Easy.
I don't know. What do you think about it?
Okay, thank you, Axel. So you agree with David. All right, very interesting. And Ali, how about you?
What? Can you repeat the question?
What's the question? The question is how about you, though. I'll repeat the original question. The question is, do you speak any other languages apart from English and your native language? And also, do you think that your native language is a difficult language to learn, and who learns it?
Okay, you know, I live in Turkey, but my native language is not Turkish. I am Kurdish, and we have different language from Turkish,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a problem in the past because my native language was forbidden in my country. We had no education. We still don't have education with our native language.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have to learn Turkish in schools or or outside.
Yep.
And Kurdish language is from different language families, you know, like the
Yes.
European families. I think Honor mentioned about that difference between European language and Turkish language.
Yep.
Kurdish language is close to European language, you know, like a grammar or structure.
Yes.
And Kurdish people speak Kurdish and Turkish, the both language right now in Turkey. And my native language is like only spoken language right now.
Okay. Yep.
Because no, we don't have education or books to read.
Okay,
And,
that must be very strange, Ali. I can hardly imagine it.
yeah, and you know, we speak two different dialects of Kurdish in Turkey, and one of them, my mother language, and I don't know, it's dying right now because many people don't speak that dialect. I don't know if you know or not.
I know a little bit, Ali. Yes. I'm very interested because I think that this obviously is a very pertinent topic for you. How do you feel about that? That your native language is actually sort of dying out slightly?
Yeah, you know, UNICEF make a list, I think every year or every 5 years, and the list is about which languages are dying or in danger, you know.
Yep. Yep.
My mother language was in the list, I think 3 or 4 years ago, I remember. And you can't do anything, you know, if you don't have education, this kind of opportunities, and uh, you don't have your own country or economy, something like that.
Yep.
And if people wants to learn a language to find a work or make money. If the language doesn't bring you money or some kind of good things, people don't waste their time to learn that language, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And the languages which spoken from small groups is dying right now.
Yep. Wow,
And
Ali. Yep.
if somebody want to learn, for example, Turkish or Kurdish, maybe different dialects of Kurdish, they just researchers, I think, or work related. That's all. I think they want to maybe search about this region or history or something like that. That's why people want to learn my mother language or native language.
Okay, what a fascinating thing. Thank you for sharing all that with us. Okay, I'm going to get Axel to read because he hasn't read yet. So we've got a picture there. Well, actually, Axel, could you read the caption for us? Because I think this is interesting.
Yeah, can you
make it bigger?
Can you make like some?
Let's see. How about that?
I can. Yeah. Okay. A Chinese teacher gives an English lesson to students in the Jiangsu province of northwest China in July 2013. Some have predicted that Mandarin Chinese will eventually become the world's language, but its elaborate tones are too difficult to learn beyond childhood.
Thank you. Keep going, Axel. Yet.
Okay. Yet more to the point, by 2115, it's possible that only about 600 languages will be left on the planet, as opposed to today's 1,000. 6,000. Japanese will be fine. Yeah, Japanese will be fine, but languages spoken by smaller groups will have a hard time of it. Too often, colonization has led to the disappearance of languages. Native speakers have been exterminated or punished for using their languages. This has rendered extinct of more bonds. For example, most of the languages of Native Americans in North America and Aboriginal people of Australia. Urbanization has only furthered the destruction by bringing people away from their homelands to cities where a single lingua franca reigns.
Great, thank you, well done. This one here is pronounced native. Yeah, well done.
Native speakers. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you, Axel. Any questions?
Yeah. No.
Are we all following okay?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. We're going to carry on reading. So I'm just going to ask if anyone would like to read. We've all had a turn now, so any volunteers?
Okay, maybe me.
Thank you, Ali. Even literacy.
Okay. Even literacy, despite its benefits, can threaten linguistic diversity. To the modern mind, languages used in writing, with its permanence and formality, seem legitimate and real, while those that are only spoken, that's all but a couple hundred of them today, can seem evanescent and parochial. Few illusions are harder to shed than the idea that only writing makes something a language. Consider that Yiddish is often described as a dying language at a time when hundreds of thousands of people are living and raising children in it, just not writing it much every day in the US and Israel.
Thank you, Ali. All right, interesting point. And this is something that you were talking about just now, Ali, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's ask any questions about the words in here. Any confusing words?
Evanescent and
Good one.
parochial.
All right, does anybody know what evanescent means? Nobody? It basically just means that something only lasts for a short time. It doesn't last long. And what about parochial? Has anyone seen this before? This has two meanings actually. It can be to do with a church. So a church is a place of worship for Christians, and it could talk about the area around the church. But in this case, it means that you only really, I suppose, is talking about things that only directly are related to yourself. So it's something that doesn't have a widespread impact or influence. All right, let's read a little bit more. We've got a few more minutes. So, Ono or David, would either of you like to read the next one for us?
Okay.
Thank you.
It is easy for speakers to associate larger languages with opportunity and smaller ones with backwardness, and therefore to stop speaking smaller ones to their children. But unless the language is written, once a single generation no longer passes it on to children whose minds are maximally plastic, it is all but lost. We all know how much harder it is to learn a language well as adults.
We sure do, don't we, guys? And David, in a community.
Sorry, Amy.
Could you read the next one? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. In a community where only older people now speak a language fluently, the task is vastly more difficult than just passing on some expressions, words and word endings. The Navajo language made new recently when a politician named Chris Dashin was barred from leading the Navajo Nation because his Navajo isn't fluent. One wishes Mr. Dashin well in improving his Navajo, but he has a mountain to climb. In Navajo there is not such thing as regular verb. You have to learn by heart each variation of every verb, plus it has tones.
Oh my goodness. All right, thank you,
It's
David.
difficult.
That sounds nearly impossible to me. You think English is bad. There's no such thing as a regular verb. You have to learn every single verb differently, and you have to deal with tones. That sounds really, really difficult. So this article has brought up a couple of issues, really. And the fact that some languages that are only really spoken and not written are being lost. And I think it's probably sad. I think losing diversity is quite sad. But I don't know if there's any way of really keeping languages alive that this is happening to. Raphael, who's made a comment in the chat box, says it's sad that most of the people are only interested in learning a language because of financial reasons. Absolutely, but the problem is that financial reasons are important reasons, I guess. So would anyone like to make any comment before we finish off about this topic?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you think it's bad that languages are getting less complicated?
Very good
Not
question, Onu.
really.
I don't know whether I think it we could say that it was either bad or good. I think, in a way, as I mentioned before, when I watch period drama programs, I really enjoy listening to the way the characters speak because I think they speak very eloquently and their meaning is much more specific, and I find it kind of refreshing. So, yes, in a way, I do think it's a bit sad that we're heading in the other direction. Um, this is with English anyway. I'm not aware of whether this happens in your language. Would you say that Turkish has changed a lot in the past 100 or so years on it?
Well, I don't have the age to say something about it, but I'm sure it has changed like many languages. Because I see older people like complaining about it, that teenagers don't use the language very good. So that must be it.
Okay, how about you, David, with Spanish? What would you say?
Well, Amy, if you ask me, I think we have lost our culture in many times because nowadays we speak like a mix. It's something like Spanglish. There are a lot of words that there are a lot of people that use. For example, most of the people say okay. There are cognates that
Hmm.
they use here for expressing. And another thing is like the young people have a poor vocabulary. They use the same words, but we have a large vocabulary. And yes, this is sad, like you said before,
Yeah,
because we are losing our culture, our customs, our speaking.
absolutely. Can you still hear me?
Yes, but you are frozen.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
not I'm not asleep, guys, I promise you. All right, well, thank you. It's been a really interesting discussion, and thanks for sharing all those things. Ali, keep speaking Kurdish, okay? Don't let it die in your generation. I think that's so sad. Um, and I hope you all have a really good evening, and see you again soon. Take care. Don't forget to keep speaking your native language while you're learning English.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay,
Bye,
thank you.
everybody. Bye.
See you. Bye
Okay,
bye.
see you. Bye.
Have we got... Can you still hear me? Yeah, okay, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Wonderful. What I want to know, Ali, is what do you think is going to happen with language around the world? If you just use your imagination and go crazy for a moment, in 100 years' time, what will we be speaking? How will language have changed?
Yeah, I think many many languages will die in maybe next 50 years or 100 years. People speak few languages, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe English will be common language, or maybe only one language, but not like this. Maybe uh, uh, we will see many changes in the language. Maybe most of people speak the same language in the world.
Okay, so you think maybe... Yeah, sorry.
No, just in next 100 years, maybe after 100
All
years.
right, so I think what you were saying,
I am from Mexico.
Okay. Well, it's really lovely to meet you. We're talking about language today. So tell us about English. Why are you learning English?
Where I was learning like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yep.
Well, I am still learning English, and I always try to improve my pronunciation, and I like to know more about new words, urban words. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that perhaps the most people say that the language that is going to be spoken for all the world is going to be, I don't know if English or some kind of weird language, or I don't know.
Some kind of made up language.
Made on.
Made up, as in
made up.
not real. Yeah.
Okay. Made up. Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know whether you know about the language called Esperanto. That's a made up language, which apparently some people do speak. But it's a very interesting topic. Okay, lovely to have you in class, Axel. We're going to come back and talk to you again soon.
Okay. Thanks.
David, hello.
Hi, Amy.
It's good to hear. So do head over to Facebook if that's something that you like. Other than that, the Verbling teacher page is the place to find out everything you will need to know about a Verbling teacher, including who they are, where they're from. You can watch some of their class videos in their introductory video, and you can also get in touch with them via the messaging feature. I think the most important thing probably is that their schedule is available to view. So you can see if you'd like to take a private tutoring class or to join any of the teachers' classes, then that's the place to go and find them. So if you would like to check out those two links, then do feel free. And I'll just do a quick sum up of this class. So it's a reading and speaking class on the theme of language in the future. So obviously English is a big player right now, but will it continue to be? In 100 years, obviously some of us, most of us, will probably not be alive, but you know, I'm sure that in our lifetimes we will see a lot of change. So it's going to be an interesting discussion. Welcome to Ali.
Hi again.
How are you feeling, Ali? You're not too worn out after the last class?
Yeah.
You're doing well?
Yeah.
That's excellent. Tell me, Ali, what do you think about the future of language? Just completely out of your imagination. Generally, Ali, is that the diversity of language might decrease, so we may have fewer languages.
Yeah. It's obvious from now we have lost some languages every year, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we will have more, how to say, strong communication devices or something like that. And Uh, the world is getting smaller and smaller, and all people can communicate each other, and they have to understand each other in some way. I don't know. They have to speak the same language if they want to communicate each other.
Okay. Thank you, Ali. Great introduction to the class. Let's see who else we've got here. We have Axel. Hello, Axel.
Hi,
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you too.
Are you a guitarist?
Yeah, I studied music when I was like 12 years old.
Awesome. And do you still play?
What?
Do you still play the guitar?
Yeah, well, right now I'm playing the guitar in my church, just in my
Okay.
church.
Yep. Awesome. Where are you from, Axel? Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Verbling class. My name is Teacher Amy, and today's class is a reading and speaking class on the topic of language, which is something that obviously all of us who are here on Verbling are interested in. The topic is, what kind of language will we speak in our world in 100 years' time? What will the nature of language be? How will it have changed? Maybe certain languages will have taken the lead and certain languages will have fallen behind. Will some languages have gone altogether? And we're just going to generally talk about this topic of language and what's important about it and what does it mean to our lives. So if you would like to join us, then come along in. We're also going to be reading an interesting article, so it will include some reading and pronunciation practice too. While we're waiting for everybody to get here, I'm just going to share a couple of pages like I always do at the beginning of class. In case you haven't checked these out before, then you can check those out in the spare minutes. The first one is my Facebook page, and the second one is my Verbling teacher page. So you can use the Facebook page to get in touch with teachers via Facebook, but also other students. It's a good way of sort of interacting with the theme of Verbling and English teaching and learning. Because obviously you can do everything that you can do on Facebook, so you can comment and you can share things.